Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about research, because at Stealing Share, it's an important part of everything that we do when we're trying to make your brand more persuasive. The first thing I want to say to you is don't ever do focus groups. Don't do them. They're a waste of your time and a waste of your money. They're not projectable to the market as a whole. As a matter of fact, they are more often than not misleading in what you take away from them. Focus groups, because they have the word group in them, give you a group mentality. Very few people are willing to stand up in a focus group, despite the quality and the skill and tact of the moderator, and say something that they think makes them look stupid or different from that group as a whole. And let's say you find out something from that focus group. You're sitting behind that one-way mirror and you're looking through at this focus group, and they're saying, gee, I really hate that, and that's just doesn't seem real to me at all, and I would never buy that product based on what a focus group is saying. And so everybody runs around behind that wall saying, whoa, we have to change it. Wait, this is 12 people. And we have no idea whether what they're saying is projectable to the market as a whole. So stop. Likewise, I've seen the reverse happen where, oh my goodness, the focus group absolutely loves something. They love it. Everybody's standing behind the mirror again is giving high fives. They've really nailed it. And I say to you once again, well, wait a minute. It's 12 people. We have no idea how projectable this is to the marketplace. In other words, whether they love it or whether they hate it, we don't know what to do with the data. So I say to you, don't do it. You need to find emotional connections to the target audience and to test them in a quantitative way that gives you the kind of results that you can take to the bank, something with a 95% confidence with an acceptable margin of error. Now, we think that qualitative research is important here at Stealing Share, and we do it all the time, but we never do focus groups. We do one-on-one interviews, blinded interviews, where we follow tangents and sit with people in their own home or in their offices and talk to them for about an hour. We're interested in the things that they have to say about themselves, about their lives, about products in general, when they're not being affected by the crowd. We want to get to the root of how they begin to make decisions. And then after we've done these qualitative interviews, we put together a study that is projectable, not an email study or an online study where we get self-selected groups, but real projectable market research. And we test the things that we learned in the qualitative. That's critical. It's absolutely critical to be able to test it quantitatively. You don't want to be the smartest guy or gal in the room. You want to be the most informed person in the room. And the way to do that is through great market research. A U&A study will only tell you what's happening now. The kind of research we suggest to you, the kind that we do, is research that uncovers things that others haven't asked at all. Things that you can own. And the reason I know that the market is almost void of emotional connections is because no one does this sort of research. They don't know how. What we do is we ask a series of questions that we have hypothesized based on some behavioral modeling we do and the qualitative research that we've done that ask people on a 5-point scale whether they agree or disagree with the following statements, with 1 being you absolutely disagree and 5 you absolutely agree. And what we're asking them is about emotional responses to things, not necessarily about the product, but about themselves. I believe is how they start. And we get a whole series of these so we can find out what those core belief systems are that drive preference within your category. And then based on that learning, which is quantitative in nature and projectable, we build a new marketing and brand message that incorporates that into the fiber of who you are, so that when the customer looks at it, when they see your brand, your product, or your service, they see it as a reflection of the things that they hold valuable in their own lives. And here's the real interesting thing. Sometimes when we're doing qualitative research and we're talking to people in these one-on-one sessions, we may hear something 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. But we've learned over the years that because we've heard it a lot doesn't mean that it's important. Sometimes that's just kind of the cliche things that you have to get out of the way. I can't tell you how often something one person has said, that when we look at it quantitatively and test it in the marketplace becomes the single most important thing you can say that causes a change to take place in the target audience. That's why you never believe qualitative research on its face. You have no idea how to place those sorts of things. So if you're looking to grow your market share, begin with great marketing research. Start with that. Here at Stealing Share, Resultant Research is our research partner here in-house. When we're working on the studies themselves, the strategists at Stealing Share work hand in hand with the researchers at Resultant creating the survey. We spend as much time creating the survey as we do taking it into the field and getting it completed out of the field, then coded, cleaned, and looked at in terms of cross-tabulations and frequencies. And the reason is it's very, very difficult to write a great study. We're defined based on the questions we ask, and you've got one shot at those questions. So it's a process. It's a long process. One that's terribly important, because if you ask the wrong questions, you get answers to the wrong problems.